Greetings to you today and welcome to the Daily Devo for Friday, February the 10th. Today's devotion is entitled No Compromise of Deity. No Compromise of Deity. From Philippians chapter 2, verses 6 and 7. Who, and I mentioned this verse the other day, who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. I like that wording. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. We can surely know this, at least, that the incarnation required no compromise of deity. Let us always remember that when God became incarnate, there was no compromise on God's part. But the holy God, who is God, and all else not God, our Father who art in heaven, could never compromise himself. The incarnation, the Word made flesh, was accomplished without any compromise of the holy deity. The living God did not degrade himself by this condescension. He did not in any sense make himself to be less than God. He remained ever good, and everything else remained not God. The gulf still existed, even after Jesus Christ had become man and had dwelt among us. Instead of God degrading himself when he became man, by the act of incarnation, he elevated mankind to himself. If you've ever thought of it that way before. Thus, we do not degrade God, but we elevate man. And that is the wonder of redemption. When you stop and think that Christ tells us that that's what he came to do, that he came to bring us into the family, that he came to have us and him and he and us and the Father and him, that community that we have been elevated from to a better neighborhood, as it were, to be in relationship with him, to be considered a child of God, just as he is the Son of God. We're not God, obviously, but we've been brought into the family. I remember one brother years ago in prayer time, he referred to Jesus as our elder brother. I love that picture. Since we get to call Jesus our Father by his grace, then Jesus is our brother. We've been lifted up, not him degraded, not him. And that's been a mystery since the church began. Was he all human? Was he all God? Was he 50-50? 100% each, 100% still God in the flesh, 100% man who got tired, who slept, who got hungry, who felt the pain of living in this world, but he's picked us up out of it and drawn us to himself. Prayer for today, Lord, you are so powerful that you could humble yourself and yet remain the majestic God. Thank you, Father, that because Jesus came down to me, I can be raised up to be with you. It's an imagery we need. It's a truth and an imagery of that truth that we need to maintain in our hearts and minds. Blessings to you today.